program is not a news broadcast. Rick Nelson gave his final concert on December 30th, 1985. The next day, his DC-3 mysteriously crashed in a Texas field. The rumors began.
It's like somebody jumping up and down on your brother's bones.
Now, for the first time, an investigation reveals the truth behind the rumors. The real story of what happened. Also, in a New Mexico motorcycle park, it was a day like any other, until a tragedy occurred. Now, it's up to scientists to rebuild the accident inside the computer in order to find out what happened.
Hello, I'm Ken Howard. When Rick Nelson's DC-3 crashed in a Texas field in 1985, rumors immediately surfaced that Rick had caused the crash by freebasing on board the plane. One of America's favorite stars had not only lost his life, he had lost his reputation. Now, for the first time, we'll tell you the real story of Rick Nelson's last flight. The real story of what happened.
What happened? We'll be right back.
Ask what happened. But for the scientists and engineers of Failure Analysis Associates, their job is to find out what happened. They're like high-tech detectives, but instead of carrying a badge and a gun, they use some incredible scientific equipment to solve their cases. When they put the puzzle together, future accidents are prevented, lives are saved, or in the case of Rick Nelson, a man's reputation is restored.
Went to a garden party, introduced my old friend.
To millions during the 1940s and 50s, Ozzie Nelson, his wife Harriet, and their children were America's real first family. After making the jump from radio to television during the 1950s, little Rick Nelson became America's favorite son. Rick played himself on the Ozzie and Harriet show, and for a while, the Nelsons were everybody's next-door neighbors.
There were a lot of other shows like ours on the air, but there were none that I can recollect that used their own names and portrayed what in essence was their lifestyle.
Rick made the jump from child actor to rock and roll star in 1957, and his career took off. As he got older, he got wiser, and many say better, but he never lost his innocence and feelings toward his family.
We loved and respected each other, and he had a great sense of humor, and he was very easy. He loved kids. He loved his own kids very much.
See, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Rick Nelson was a true American hero until the last afternoon of 1985. On that day, Rick, his fiancée, and the 6 members of his Stone Canyon band died when their DC-3 crash-landed into a Texas field. Then the rumors began.
One network national newsman came to my club, and he asked my opinion of the freebasing, and I just said it's absurd. And that was the end of the interview. And it's like, how unfair can you be?
Well, it wasn't so much his reputation as tarnished. It's like somebody jumping up and down on your brother's bones, and you just you want to go find a machine gun someplace, but you don't know quite where to aim it at. You know, I mean, he's left his children who won't have a father to grow up with. I've lost a brother, somebody that was a piece of me, really.
Rick Nelson's reputation reputation was tarnished. Though the fire was intense, a number of aerosol cans, much like these, were found in the wreckage. Now, aerosol cans can be used during the freebasing process to provide the fire needed to vaporize cocaine. And some journalists jumped to the conclusion that this was the real cause of the crash.
The events that led to tragedy began on December 28, 1985. On that afternoon, Rick and his band flew into the small town of Guntersville, Alabama, as a favor to an old friend and former band member, Pat Upton.
Hey, how are you?
Rick had just bought his vintage DC-3, and he loved to show it off.
Oh, man, this looks beautiful. This is great.
It was a late afternoon, and the sun was setting, and all the colors and everything behind the plane looked very nice. And so when I saw him, I mentioned, that to him, and he was proud of his plane.
DC-3s require constant maintenance, and after landing, pilot Brad Rank and co-pilot Ken Ferguson checked over one of the plane's engines.
Usually once he got to the city or the hotel, he usually stayed in his room.